You talk a lot about perspective.
Yeah,
You wrote a book on perspective.
I did. That's
What
why I'm
have
talking about it.
what have you learned about yourself in this journey of either writing your book or understanding more about perspective? What have you learned about yourself?
I'm not who I think I am.
Oof.
Yeah. It that that's probably the biggest thing because the I've wanted to write a book for like 8 years, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be an author one day. And then it just kept getting pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. And I was finally like, I need to actually, like, this is time to write this thing. So I start writing and I didn't even know what the book was going to be. I just started writing every day. And then it's like a weekend, it started forming like a skeleton and outline and like chapters. And I was like, oh shit, I've been writing a book on Instagram. And I looked at like the past 2 years of all my viral posts and everything. And I scraped all that. I organized it and I was like, these are sections and there's like a theme here. And so I kept going in that style. And the first section, why I bring that up, is about the self. It's about who am I? Like understanding the concept existentially of yourself. And when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That includes you. And so if I have this preconceived notion of who I am, it locks me into and chains me to a certain reality. And so if I want to change my life, it's not about necessarily changing my actions or changing certain things in my life, but it's changing the perspective I have even of myself.
Mm.
And so the most healthy way to kind of hold your truth, which is another concept I talk about in the book, is with, I might be wrong on this. And that's a scary place for your ego because your ego wants to identify as something. But if you can identify as that I am everything and nothing at the same time, I can be whatever the fuck I want to be whenever I want to be it. It's really freeing and really fun. And that's permission for you to be whatever the current moment demands you to be. Versus even if it's insecure, or I'm outgoing or I'm this or I'm that. It's like I experienced this. I used to be a group fitness instructor and did that for a while. And around that time when I was doing that, I was seen by others as having high energy. So I, to myself, couldn't not be high energy or I wasn't measuring up. I wouldn't be accepted. I was out of integrity. So I developed a crazy caffeine addiction to keep up with that identity. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of undoing with that one to recognize it was an identity piece. But also just taking on the identity that I'm an author, that I've been an author and writing the book. And I've been an author, but like, oh, that's who a part of me. That's a part of how I've written poetry even as a teenager, right? So just to like own that again. But yeah, I know we went really deep, really fast, but that's basically what I've learned about myself is that I'm not who I think I am. There's so much more to me. And I think that keeps curiosity going.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be, again, like I said, tough for the ego who wants to like lock you into a certain, I'm this or I'm that, or I do this thing in the world or whatever. But it's been more freeing.
Yeah. Well, and it's so scary when you start to identify as something else, to externalize that. Like the first time you tell somebody I'm an author, probably felt uncomfortable as fuck.
It was weird. It was definitely weird. It was like, I'm an author. What?
You're like, am I?
I have a book. I'm like, wait, what? This was like too easy to do for me. I was like, wow, okay, anybody could be an author if that's what it takes. But it's funny because it's like my life caught up to me. Like before, I wanted to write a book, and it was this mountain I had to climb, and then all of a sudden, I had a shift, and the book found me. And it started coming through me, and it wasn't something that I had to like lock in and do. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it kind of just like, it was almost like a culmination of all your old content, your Instagram posts. You're like, oh wait, this is actually a book. So it was like this thing happened, but you weren't forcing it. You weren't sitting down and saying, my mission is to write a book in the next 12 months, and I'm going to sit down and write for 4 hours every day, no matter what, which I think is the way a lot of people think you have to write a book.
Sure. Or go to, get a cabin in the woods and put out a book in a month or something. I did still discipline myself and devote myself every day for an hour, first thing in the mornings. I'd like drink water, I'd pray, and then I'd go straight into typing. And that was, I think, an anchor because life was still lifing, right? I spent 8 months writing the book. A lot happened in that time. but that was still like, yeah, I'm going to be present with this every day. So some days I didn't write at all. I was just organizing or rewording things. Some days it was pouring through me. Sometimes I'd be driving and I was like, oh, that's good. And I'm like, oh, I got an idea for this part of the book or whatever. And then it was just kind of, Rick Rubin talks about when something's done, how do you know when something's done? And I just was literally one day was like, yeah, I could keep tinkering with this for months, or I can be like, this is done now. And so I just made the decision and here we are.
I love that. How do you know when something's done? And I think that goes into both physical things and it's also personal things.
Yeah.
Of like, how do you know when you're done with a relationship, with a job, with whatever it is? And so I guess for you, when it came to acknowledging when the book was done, was there anything you did or sat on or thought about or contemplated in order to truly come to peace with like, nope, book's done?
Dude, the one of the intentions that helped me write the book was recognizing like, I thought it was going to be this big, giant, daunting thing to write a book, right? And I was like, what if this was fun?
Oh,
what if I could have fun writing this book? And so that was the permission slip for me to actually start writing. And then as I was doing it towards the end, I don't know. It was that same internal feeling of just like, yeah, it's done now.
Yeah.
Like, because it was a fun project and it wasn't trying to accomplish or achieve something. And I think if I had that come from with it when writing the book, it would have been a little bit, I would have stayed longer. I would have like tried to make it more perfect. And that would have probably suffocated a little bit of the essence of the book itself, in my opinion, because I would have over edited things or made it too much like, it would have started veering off into stop having fun and finish the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I recognized that part of me was really coming forward, and I was like, oh, okay, the intention's set.
Yeah.
I had fun. I wrote a book. It's done now. And part of it is accepting, there's, I edited everything because there's, it's poetry and I can't have a traditional editor.
Fair.
I want how I capitalize things or don't capitalize things or whatever. And since putting the book out and when I was reading the audiobook, I caught a typo and I was like, I'm keeping it in there. I'm like, there's no way. I've come this far. It's all right. I'm not gonna fix that. So it's imperfect. And I think that's also part of the intention of the book. I didn't use AI to write it at all.
Yeah.
And that's the first sentence of the introduction. So like, I'm like, it adds to the humanness that there's a mess up in there.
Yeah. I love the framing of like, I was going to do this and I was going to have fun when I do it.
Yeah.
And I've taken that approach. So I got really good at building companies and building companies very fast. And it's not to say like a company that is successful fast, but it's how do I take an idea and build it into a usable product by a consumer in 30 days or a month or whatever, or, 30 days a month.
Quick.
Yeah. How do I do it very quickly? And one of my barometers is, am I still having fun building this thing? And as soon as it stops being fun, I actually just stop building it. I'm like, cool. I actually don't enjoy this. I thought it was an idea that I thought I would enjoy. I started. I don't enjoy it. And it's like, I'm going to go do something different. And I think that's a lot of us is we do a thing and we project out this future of what that thing is going to be or do or look like. And then we just kind of like force ourselves through this journey, even if it's zero fun. And it's like, how do we just have more fun in our life and ensure that everything that we're doing is actually enjoyable to us?
There's a lot of just what's in culture right now, though. Like if you look around, like everybody's locking in and focusing in the hustle culture and all of that. I think it's just a lot of people are buy into that's the way that you make things happen. And sure, you get results, but like at what cost?
I'm one of them. I work so much. I work so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like allowing it to be fun. One of the concepts I talk about in the book is like your business, and I don't mention business. I forgot. I think I'd say your purpose. But I've come to realize your business isn't a rocket ship to get you somewhere. It's a garden. And if you view it that way, it just needs your presence. You're not on a deadline to try to get to Mars or whatever the fuck. You're just like, let me just be present with this and I'll know what to do. Like I'll know that pull the weeds here. But if you try to rush it, you start pumping pesticides on it and it strips the nutrients because you're rushing the production.
Mm. I love that.
And so you cut corners and things, it's not as nutrient dense as it could be. Then it lowers the quality of the fruit that's in the garden. So it's just like, yeah, let me just be present with, and you'll know what to do.
Yeah. How do you think about then with deadlines or actually, accomplishing a thing at a certain point?
Yeah.
How does that because I love the framing of it, of you're just present, you're enjoying the journey of watching your garden grow.
Yeah.
You're not forcing it to grow as quickly as you want it to, as quickly as you feel like you need to make it grow. But then how do you stay on top of deadlines or accomplish deadlines or actually move things forward at a good rate?
Yeah, I would say most of my friends know me as very quick. So I want to preface this with that. I come from like, let's get it done yesterday. And yeah, I can move fast. I can resonate with you on that. Building things very quickly. Like, how you built that whole page in a day? Yeah, I did. Like I built an app in 2 weeks. Like, I have that muscle in me. Yeah. But I didn't do it from, there's this deadline. I did it from, there's this deadline, and for me, it's calendar, like blocking out my calendar. I'm going to spend 6 hours today on the creative, or I'm going to spend all of this time. And if it happens sooner, great. But I'm not going to be rushed or hurried in that time. I'm just going to be present in that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A lot of it's time management for me of like, cool. I got the book launch happening at the end of the month. There's some pressing deadlines. I had to talk with my team right before this, right? So we have the deadlines in place and everything's set and everything's in my calendar to do the things that I need to do before then. But I don't need to rush. I just need to be present.
No.
Right. And so I think it's the energy of rush that is the difference here. Right. So I still have deadlines and I push myself. Like, of course, I'm not like lollygagging in a garden, but it's just the presence that I bring to it is different, where I'm able to just sit down and be here with you and not think about a pressing deadline or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like your framing of, one, I think it's really important that everybody has everything in their calendar. I think that's obviously one of the most important like time management things you could do.
Huge.
Yeah. Because it also shows you, I don't have time for these things. Like, I just don't. Yeah. And we tend to think that we can accomplish a lot, and then you put it in a calendar and you're like, I can't accomplish shit. Like, I can do 2 things this week and that's about it.
Yeah.
What I like what your framing is you're creating the space to get a thing done or to be present with something.
Yeah.
Which I think I've never heard it framed that way, but it feels really important. And it goes in line with, I can't remember who the author was, but they wrote a book called The One Thing.
Yeah.
And I remember the premise is the one thing gets 4 hours of your day, and it's like the first 4 hours or whatever the framing is, but it's 4 very important hours. And it kind of sounds like that's your approach a bit, is the most important thing gets a very large part of my calendar.
Yeah.
And that's how I think about creating that space for this thing.
Dude, I took a time management course when I was like 17.
Dude,
best decision of my life. I was in a network marketing company, and they were doing like pop-up workshops, and one of them was a time management thing on Google Calendar because it was like the thing to do back then.
Yeah.
I am so glad I took that, because it's set my life up for like a trajectory of actually accomplishing things.
Yeah. So for anybody listening that is like, I am awful at time management, what the hell do we do?
I have it all in one place, number one. So don't go on paper and then your refrigerator and then Google Calendar. Like, have it all in one place. I use Google Calendar because it's super intuitive, easy to use. You can color code things. You can set up stuff recurring. So set up all your recurring stuff. You think about like, okay, I want to have this much sleep. I have these responsibilities. I need to be here at this time on these days. Put that stuff in your calendar first, then fill it in with the fun stuff you want to do and the work you have and other things. So I generally have a blocked off week. And then on Sunday night, I review the week and I'll tweak things, like I don't need to work this block on Tuesday because I have this thing. So I drag and drop and delete and add and stuff like that. And then you can look at it in colors and go, I'm spending a lot of time on work this week, or I'm not spending much time on work, or I'm spending a lot of time in yellow, which for me is like social stuff. So I kind of look for that and then go, do I want to be balanced? Is it okay to be unbalanced? I've got a pressing deadline. I should probably put more time into work right now. I might need to say no to that party on Wednesday. I'm able to make decisions like that. And I do it week by week.
Oh yeah.
That's my flow. That for years. I've lived like it's kind of a running joke with me and some of my friends. It's not my calendar. Like it's not happening.
100%.
So
100%.
Yeah.
That's like when I sent you the calendar invite for this, because that's why I was like, this is how my mind works. If it's not on my calendar, I will forget about it.
But the funny thing is, I put it in my calendar before you asked me for my email to put it in the calendar. Like,
yeah, dude. Once you get used to it, that's where your brain goes. It's,
Totally.
I'm going to look at my calendar, and if it's not here, I forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel that. What was like, okay, so when you were writing this book and you were coming up, whether it be like different philosophies or, different subject matter, what was the part that surprised you the most?
I would say the fact that it's a poetry book, like the whole basis of the book. Like when I thought I was going to write a book, I thought it was going to be like writing a book, like paragraph talking to somebody, but I wrote it in little snippets and it kind of came out. That was the fun piece for me. It's fun to write that way where it's like, how can I say a lot without saying a lot?
Mm.
And that to me was the game of how do I convey this message in as little words as possible and get somebody to think. So I wrote it in a way where it's as you are with it and as the reader reads it, it's contemplative and it makes you stop and go, wait, what? Like you have to use some critical thinking, and it invites the reader to look at their own life and look at their perspectives without me telling them to do something. That the art of that was surprising to me.
Yeah.
But that was the fun part too. That for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a beautiful way to think about that too. Like there's a superpower in saying less and being able to say less, but articulate more.
Yeah.
And when you read a book like that, like the book that came to mind for me was As a Man Thinketh.
Totally.
And it's like a 30-page book. It takes me a month to read the thing because every page I'm just like, I'm going to go sit here for, a day and think about what just was said on this page.
Yeah.
And that is an incredibly unique skill set. Was that something you've always been really good at, or was it developed through this process? You're like, oh, I now all of a sudden, I actually understand how to do this.
I think it was developed, my social media started going viral for memes and quotes that I was creating. So it started with that. But I think capturing attention on social media was the thing, right? Like I've been online since when Instagram was Instagram and not owned by Meta. I had a fitness account that had like 100,000 followers. And so I got good at how to like the algorithm and grabbing attention online and stuff. And, you have to hook it and be quick. So I'm like, how do we concise this and just get to the point? And also hook it to where it's a scroll stopper and I'm not just telling you something.
No.
I didn't want to be like a teacher where it's like these 3 steps to do the thing. Like
the worst.
I've done that and I was like, that's not me.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do I convey in a way that's authentic to me? And the few people that have read the book already, they're like, this book is so you. So it's something inherent with me, I think, of like how I talk. And it's kind of like offshoot. My dad was a very funny guy, but he would have these one-liners that would like, he wouldn't talk. There'd be a group of people, everybody's chit-chatting, and then he'd have this one-liner at the right time and everybody cracks up. And I always remember that about him. And I have that now. But it's kind of like that where you're able to just throw in one thing and it disrupts the energy. And I just happen to do that with contemplation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What an interesting way to look at social media. Almost as a proving ground for your ability to write in a way that grabs attention.
Yeah.
And if nobody's paying attention to you on social media, you probably aren't writing in a way that grabs attention in the most energy, sucking place.
Well, it's interesting. You can grab attention and be inauthentic, or you can grab attention and be authentic, or you can not grab attention and be authentic. So there's like a spectrum there, right? Of like, how much do you appease to the algorithm and how much are you just being yourself?
Yeah.
And there's a balance there. How can you can be yourself and appease the algorithm at the same time, but you have to learn the language of being authentic and learn the language of the algorithm. And I think, there's one of the quotes in there that's like, it's the measure of a man isn't by what he has, but by what has him. So like, if the algorithm has you, you're not going to be authentic.
Yeah.
Because you're appeasing to the algorithm. all the time.
Yeah.
And I've fallen into that before, and I've had to like shake it up and swing the pendulum a little bit to the more authentic stuff that didn't do as well on the algorithm. And as I'm going through this shift of how I'm showing up different online right now, it's kind of like finding my new groove in the new way that I get to show up.
Yeah.
In art. So yeah, it's a dance.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. I had that conversation with somebody on the podcast where they made a bunch of money, but they hated who they became to make the money.
Yeah.
And I would imagine a lot of people on social media feel that way that have
The number
made it.
People that I know that have like started YouTube and they've gotten, successful or at least to 10K followers
Yeah.
on YouTube or something, subscribers, that burn out and they're like, I don't like this anymore. It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the big names, a few of them have burnt out before and then they like take a step back and they're returning to it. It's different because I think it does. There's something to be said about, getting the plane off the ground and you have to give some intensity to it. But yeah, just don't let it lose you.
Yeah.
Don't lose you in the middle of that. And that's at least something that just is values wise, like you get to check,
Yeah. Yeah. That's part of why I think for me, podcasting felt very natural as the medium.
Yeah.
Because for me, this type of a conversation, you can't be anything but yourself.
Right.
And there's no room for kind of like orchestrating or appeasing an algorithm because you're like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have any clue how to articulate a conversation in a very specific way that would then be able to like cut it up and appease an algorithm. It's like, no, this is just this is the most authentic version of who I am.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Where do you feel in like an everyday life, whether it be writing or speaking or in the gym, that you're the most authentic? Or one, where you're the most authentic? And also like where do you think you're the least authentic right now?
That's a good question. I think I'm pretty I think, this is my own perspective, but I think I'm pretty authentic most of the time. It's funny. You mentioned the gym. The gym, I've always been authentic. Actually, I'm going to read something in the book real quick about integrity, being authentic to yourself. Because in the gym for the longest time, I was inauthentic, meaning I was beating my body up, man. I was authentic to who I wanted to be, but I was abusing my body.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Been there.
Yeah. And it developed a lot of problems from that. Where is this one? Okay. When we change, what we are in integrity to changes. And so we become out of integrity to the old, yet into integrity with the new, thus integrally out of integrity.
Do that one more time.
When we change, what we are in integrity to changes. So we become out of integrity to the old, yet into integrity with the new, thus integrally out of integrity. And so I've been going through a lot of shifts in my life recently, which is why I brought that up, where integrity to my authenticity has changed. I even saw a podcast I did about this time last year, and I'm like, that is a different person. Whoa. Like,
wild.
Wow. And glory to God with that. So I'm just like, there's so much change in my life that I think I'm the most authentic I've ever been because I give less fucks about the wrong things.
Yes.
And I cared so much about what people thought of me, or I cared so much about my perspective of myself. I cared so much about getting a weird false sense of security or safety. And I just don't care about a lot of things. And I do care about a lot of things. It's what I care about has shifted.
Yeah.
There's another quote in there that power becomes love when you care more, and love becomes power when you care more. But you have to care about, and then what I don't say in there is like, it's what are you caring about? So
yeah,
to answer your question, I'm the most authentic that I've ever been in my entire life because I don't care about the things that I used to care about. And what I cared about has shifted. I care about service. I care about supporting others. I care about what God thinks about me, not what I think about me or what people think about me. And that's really changed the game. And I think the place that I'm the least authentic, and I would say this because of traumas and stuff that's happened in the past, is when anytime that I'm pulling up back end business stuff or financial stuff, because there's a part of me that comes out that, again, is authentic to my fears and my trauma, but it's not authentic to my soul. So I'm in integrity and I'm not being authentic because I'm scared or because it's not a desired situation or it's all the fuck over the place. And I'm like, I got clean. I got to get organized, whatever it is. I'm in integrity and I'm being authentic, but not to my, you could say highest self. I like to say your soul.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in integrity to that part of me who is so detached and trusting and it's all going to be good. And I don't get my worth from that.
Mm.
So that'd be the least. And then I brought up the gym because I, for the longest time, wasn't being authentic there. And then I feel like I've gotten such somatic awareness from the way that I move my body in the gym as a bodybuilder and not a power lifter, like meaning I'm contracting muscles, I'm not moving weight.
Mm.
And the mind muscle connection that was built with that, I've got an insane somatic awareness. And any body worker that's ever worked with me, they're like blown away. And I think that's accredited to just how many hours I put in the gym. But now I show up and I'm just being present with myself. So I think that's the most authentic we can be. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I loved what you said in, at least this was my interpretation of it,
Yeah.
is when you're authentic with yourself and when you're in integrity with yourself, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I feel that so much. And it came up, I think, earlier this week for me, where it is when I'm integrity with myself and the things that I'm working on, I don't care at all about external validation.
Yeah.
But when I'm out of integrity, I start to care more about external validation because you're trying to get that validation of the thing that you're doing is worth it, even if it's out of integrity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You're looking for, I'm good enough, right? Or this is the right thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you're looking for that check mark of like, you're doing a good job. You're not giving it to yourself or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And there's so many times, man. Wow. That plagued my life for a really long time.
I think it plagues a lot of us.
Yeah.
You know, we do things where we're just seeking validation over and over and over. And it's likely because we're out of integrity with the reason why we're doing the thing, or because we know that there's something that is more aligned with who we are that's like on the other side. And we're not taking that leap to get there.
Right.
So from your side of things, now that you're operating mostly out of integrity with the majority of your life, how would somebody take just one step forward to getting there?
There's what you want to do and there's what you really want to do. What do you really want to do?
How do we know the difference?
I mean, you got to sit, meditate, pray, like
Yeah.
you feel it in your soul. There's one thing that's like, yeah, no, this is the thing I want to do. Like, I'm going to build this business in this way and da 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 da. Like, ask yourself why, and then what? Why? For recognition, money. Cool. Then what's going to happen? This one, literally follow. Then what? Like 20 times, and then it's kind of like, well, wait a second. What is? I want to build the business so I can have the money, so I can have the house, so I can have the status, so I can be at peace, so that then I can like enjoy that lifestyle. So for what? Because I deserve it. Okay, then what? Like, and then what? Right? Keep following that, and it's gonna scramble your brain, and I think you'll probably get to something that you really want. And then why don't you just go to that then now? And all the business and the lifestyle and the money and all the stuff is going to happen then as a byproduct just through quantum physics. So now you're embodying a different being, which is really what we're after. I think, a lot of times. Yeah.
I love and then what? There's some author, somebody who is same framing, and theirs is why. And it's, you answer the question, why? Why do you want this? Answer the question, why do you want this? And I actually programmed a GPT to do that for me, where it was, hey, when we're having this conversation, every time I give an answer, I need you to probe at the why. And we just go layer and layer and layer. And it's just, you're just constantly peeling back another layer, to your point, to like, what is the actual truth?
Yeah.
And you can do this with purpose and passion. You can also do it with why is the thing bothering me? Why am I mad at this person? Or why does this specific work event frustrate me?
Mhm.
And usually the why is actually wildly different than what you think you're upset about right now.
Wildly different.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that, that's like the thing. There's what you want to do and there's what you really want to do. And I think we haven't, as a collective society, been given the permission to just do what we really want to do. Because of conditioning through school, I think is a main one. And just the way people are in society. It's like, dress how you really want to dress. Like, say what you really want to say. But it is easier. It's not as easy as just doing it, right? Because there's a lot of internal stuff that we need to shift from. But, I've really found that fell off of me when I was really just deepening my relationship with God. For me, that's what it was. Because then I'm like, I'm not concerned about other people. And so it was this, well, what do I really want to do? And what do I really have to say? And it wasn't about me as much as it was just authentic in me. Not what do I think I should be, if that makes sense. What's not the persona that Kevin wants to be one day as his highest self. It's just what's authentic right now. And there's this concept of like being, when we can only trust to the level that we know we're loved. And whether that's from yourself or from God or however you try to get it, I got mine from God. And when I know that I'm loved from God, I can now create. And what that does in the nervous system is, if you see a child, there's a kid and you put paper and crayons on the floor and you say, draw, what do you want to draw? And if that child's like, well, I don't know, what do you want me to draw? They probably have some parental trauma. But if the child just starts coloring, they know they're loved. And the same happens on our nervous system on a day-to-day with what we're doing. If it's always like, well, I don't know, like what should I be doing? We're stripped from our authenticity versus, I'm just going to start doing the thing. And hey, if I get it wrong, I'm going to be redirected. Right? There's a trust with that. And a trust in our inherent desires to be authentic and to create whatever it is we want to create in life. Again, that could be relationships, business, or whatever. So that's how I look at it now.
Yeah. The trust, the love, and we can only, what was your framing? We can only trust as much as we're loved.
That we know we're loved.
That we know that we're loved.
We could be very loved, but if we don't receive it or perceive it, we're not going to trust.
Yeah. So what happens for, let's say, a lot of the world, we feel like we really love ourselves. Let's say we're there, we're full of self-love, but we're in a work environment where we don't feel like we're that loved. And that creates, you're framing what's parental trauma. And, I think that can obviously come out in a very normal form within work because, your boss or whoever's your, quote unquote parent in this situation. So if we're full of love, self-love, but in our work environment, we're not full of love, what do we do?
As in, like, you don't feel like they respect you, or
where you can't be authentic because you're like, well, wait, what do you want me to do? I don't want to make you mad. So I want to, do the work that you want me to do, even if like, but you love yourself in a way, but you're not loved like in that environment. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Are you talking like, I don't know, they give you a project and something you don't really want to do?
Yeah. Or you're scared of making a mistake.
I see. I think, conversation. Hey, person who I feel like I'm making a mistake with, like, I'm scared I just want to let you know. Okay, this is the thing. Speak to the fear.
Ooh, okay, okay.
When you speak the fear, it diffuses. I'm scared of making a mistake because I respect you and I love this job and I don't want to mess up. I just want you to know that.
Whoa. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And any leader would instantly respect you.
Totally. And now it's not going to be hidden in this thing that you're trying to dance with.
Yeah.
It's out in the open. They know. And if you mess up, you've told them. And they also know you're going to try to do your best. And so it diffuses things. I do that when I facilitate anything. Almost anytime I facilitate online or in person, if it's a retreat or whatever, the first thing I say is whatever I'm scared of, because I'm usually have anxiety about something. Yeah. So it's like, I'm scared I'm going to mess something up or forget something. Cool. Now that that's out of the way, like, like for real, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And it's just my own permission slip for myself to be like, cool. I'm not hiding anything. And I think that that's really what, it's not the fear itself, it's hiding the fear
Mm-hmm.
that gets in the way of that dynamic for a freedom of expression and authenticity. So speaking the fear out loud is the power move there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. I think that was probably just a huge unlock for a lot of people. It was just an unlock for me.
Awesome.
I've
Yeah.
never heard that framing before.
Yeah. Yeah. Just speak to it. Like, hey, I'm noticing this fear come up that, and it's probably bullshit, but you know,
Yeah.
hey, this is coming up for me. And it's because I love you or respect you or whatever the thing is. And I value this. Just speaking the fear.
How should we do that in relationships?
Man. So with relationships, it's, I was a relationship coach for 8 years.
Yeah.
So, my come from on this answer is there can be such a thing as too much of doing the work in a relationship. And I don't think, what's the word I'm looking for? Like always being transparent all of the time is beneficial.
Agreed.
Like there's a time to bring up something and be honest. And there needs to be a level of trust, but I don't need to know when my partner's having wandering eyes because she's dealing with less stuff every single time it happens. I trust that, you know what I mean? Or she has this insecurity. Like sometimes there'll be, something will happen, an insecurity, and maybe she gets to work through that with her girlfriends, or she does some inner work and then it diffuses. And I didn't need to be a part of that conversation. Mm-hmm. So manically doing all the work with your partner is not actually beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
But if it is a fear and you're recognizing, okay, I'm doing this inner work, it's not going away. I'm talking to my guy friends, it's not going away. That's when it would be like, hey, there's this fear here that I'm not enough, or that I'm going to let you down, or that I'm not going to be able to provide, whatever your fear is. And nothing needs to, this is the big thing with when you're speaking the fear, it's not a request of the other person to change anything. Take 100% ownership. I have this fear coming up, period. And now when somebody, like you said with the job situation, when somebody respects you, it will change how they show up. But you're not requesting anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because of their love, it's going to change the environment of our truth, which is a shared truth between two people. And so that ecosystem, if you will shift in dynamic. It will grow stronger, whatever it is. It's not, I feel this fear and I want you to do this thing. That's not at all what it is. It's just, hey, I feel this fear. It's because I value this so much. And I just wanted to let you know that it's coming up. And in a relationship, if that person really values you in the relationship and they care, they're going to be like, cool, like, how can I support? Or they're going to ask, right? And if you don't know, then you don't know. But just speaking the fear out loud, I think in a relationship setting, it keeps you as a teammate instead of just a partner to somebody. And I think that that's one of the bigger framings. So on the love section in the book that I talk about is they're your teammate. You're playing the game of life together. And if you don't know, like, if we're playing 2-on-2 pickleballs, for example, like the more synergy we have as teammates, the more coherent we're going to be on the court. Like if the more I know your stuff, what you're going through, how you, like if we're just, we're on the court and we're just doing the court thing, but there's no bond, it's not going to be as powerful.
Yeah.
We inherently know that. The same is true with relationships. So let them know the fears just as much as you let them know the desires. And it doesn't make you weak. It actually is the door for vulnerability and connection.
Yeah. But to your point, if you overshare, like if you show up every day of, totally. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of this.
Yeah.
Like that will probably create, it'll probably break down the dynamic or break down the partnership.
It's going to be laborsome to always navigate those things together. What I'm saying is sometimes it's not something that needs to be navigated. Just speak to it. It diffuses.
Yeah.
And every couple is different. Every relationship is different. So, if you're not doing this, start doing this. If it's happening all the time, maybe pull a little bit back and take some ownership and try to work it out on your own. Is my 2 cents on that. We're with your community.
Yeah. I think that's something really important that you shared is having different outlets to express this stuff first.
Yeah.
And, I think for men, a lot of men just don't have great other men in their life or that they can be vulnerable with, which is it's hard. And I think men are realizing how important it is, but we still struggle to create those type of friendships.
Of course.
How have you done it? How have you brought in other great men that you can rely on, that you can be vulnerable with, that you can trust, that you can have these conversations with?
I really want to give a solid answer here. I'm thinking. Because part of me wants to say it was luck and I just found the right group of guys, but I don't think that's it. I think it's part of it. Like, I'm not, trying to meet guy friends at the bar or whatever. I'm doing interesting things that I love in my life, and I'm being authentic and being myself, and it magnetizes the right guys to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think genuine attracts genuine.
Yeah.
So the more that I just led with my authenticity, that magnetized guys that either wanted to be more authentic or already were, and they recognized it. And the whole concept of just like going first, like be the first to raise your hand and ask a question, be the first to share vulnerably in a men's group or whatever the thing. Like, the more that you can just be the first to do it, I think, I don't know where I learned that, but initiating and starting and being the first for me has been how I've gotten those guys in my life.
Yeah.
And it's come in different ways, but that's the thing that I do, knowingly or unknowingly, because of just who I am.
Yeah.
And I've just, through repetition, I go first. I'll go first. Again, like analogy, like everybody's doing ice baths, and I'm like, I'm the first. I'm going to go. I don't want to go first, but I'm going to go first because I know it sets the tone for the energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm excited to go first, and I'm going to like make a big deal out of it, I'm going to. It's everybody else. It makes them feel more accomplished. It makes them feel more like they belong, especially as a DJ and a party starter.
Yeah.
First one on the dance floor. Right? Like,
you have to be.
I am. There's an empty dance floor. I'm going to rip that thing up. And that was not me. Like, I was the shy nerd kid in school who sat by myself at lunch, and I had just a few friends. Like, so to go from that to going first, I think it was this muscle of exposure therapy. Honestly, like, I don't want to do that. Okay, do it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think. I'm just going to go out there, and over and over and over again. Now it's just what I do.
I love that. I love the exposure therapy. I think that is super important that most of us don't do enough of, and then everything becomes such a buildup in our heads, and then we don't do anything.
But we're trying to like inner work or heal it before we do it.
Yes.
And it's like, just start doing it, and then it's going to get easier.
100%. I was talking about that on one of the episodes where, like, that's how I got really comfortable talking to women that I see, at a coffee shop or out on the trail or whatever. It's like, I've done it so many times, and it was wildly uncomfortable at first.
Yeah.
And now it's just a muscle.
Yeah.
And for me, meeting a lot of like great men is going up to men in the gym and being like, yo, what you're doing is dope. Like, you look great or whatever it is. Right. It's like, you just build the muscle of talking to strangers.
Totally.
That was for me. It was a big of like, I want to build the muscle of talking to strangers. And now a lot of my life is, I want to build the muscle of building companies.
Nice.
And I just will keep trying.
Yeah.
Just keep trying.
Yeah.
And then it gets easier and easier and easier every single time.
And that's where the confidence comes from.
Yeah.
Because you put in the reps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exposure therapy.
It's underrated nowadays.
Seriously.
Because everybody's just wimpy, I guess. Oh, I have this fear. Okay, do you want to have the fear? Like, oh, I'm insecure. Okay, do you want to keep being insecure? Like, we have to be met with that. I'm scared to go do the thing. Okay, that's fine. Do it anyway. But again, I think that comes from caring about the wrong things.
Yeah. Yeah. Caring about the wrong things is, I remember I had this kind of like unlock in my own life where this was again around like what I cared about and about money, where I said, here are the 5 things that I want to spend money on. like the 5 kind of like categories of my life. If it's not in this category, I don't want to do it. And that was a very, it was a financially freeing experience for me. And it was very similar to you from, these are the things I care about from like an energy standpoint. Because it's still the same thing, money, energy, it's all the same.
Yeah.
But I think defining the things that you do want to put energy or money into, and then everything else is just a no.
Yeah.
And it came out a lot for me when I asked my mom once. I was like, what makes you happy? What brings you joy? She was like, I don't know. I was like, whoa. And I was like, okay, the ability to answer what brings you joy then is, where do I want to spend my energy? Where do I want to spend my money?
Yeah.
Because I know what it's going to do for me. For you, when it comes to like these things that you care about, what would be the exercise or the practice or the thought pattern that somebody should go through in order to better understand, hey, here are the things that I actually care about in my life? Truly. There's some things that I do care about, but to your point, there are things I care about and there's things that I really care about. How do we get from these are things I care about to these are things that I really care about?
Go walk in a graveyard for 30 minutes or 3 hours.
Okay. Why graveyard?
Because you're going to die one day. You're going to be there. They had the same worries. They had the same fears. They had the same anxieties, life stuff. And then you die. I think it's a reset when we contemplate death and our own death. You know, I've heard somewhere down personal development spaces that like write your own eulogy, being one of those things. But for me, when I need to sober up and I need to realign, I go to the graveyards.
Wild.
Because it is sobering. Like there is a person here in Earth now that lived a whole life that probably had the same fears I had, or anxieties or worries about paying bills or whatever, stuff. And you're just like, am I going to really let that ruin my experience of living? Life is happening right now. It's not forever. That's how I've done it. And it's not a depressing thing. I think it really gets to be an opportunity thing of like, yeah, life isn't forever and I'm alive right now. Like, whoa, what a gift. And so it reorganizes our values and we get to contemplate and go, if I'm lucky enough to make it to 80, 100 or whatever, however old, what's the life that I want to look back on? And I'm going to be like, man, I'm so grateful these things happened. I'm so grateful I prioritized these things in my life. Usually it comes down to people and relationships and prioritizing that more than our work or our accomplishments because we don't take that with us. And that stuff's still important. It's not one or either or, but like, where's the priority, right? Like I'm not going to screw over a human to achieve something. That's just not me because of my values and my priorities. I give less attention to my fear of being seen as an idiot or a fool or whatever the thing is that I'm scared about on social media, and what other people think of me, because like it doesn't matter. But that's because I know who I am, which we talked about in the beginning. And if you don't know who you are, you're going to look for other people to validate and give you a definition of yourself. And that's a slippery slope where then you're now entangled through identity. You're entangled to your insecurities. You rely on somebody else to tell you who you are because you're not fabricating that or you don't have a template for that. And so you need the insecurity. Otherwise, how are you going to get a feedback of who you are? It's a parasite in your mind that's creating a need that isn't yours. Are you tracking a little bit?
I'm digesting.
So whether it's shame or an insecurity or something, we can have a spiritual parasite of the mind, a mindset, if you will, just like physical parasites. They create sugar cravings, but you're not craving sugar. Parasite is.
Oh no, I'm definitely I'm kidding.
You know what I mean though? Like,
yeah.
Or it has a craving. And I actually had parasites and I had to do a whole cleansing with that. And now I'm like, whoa, most of my mood swings and hunger cravings and snacks and all that was parasitic.
Wild.
So I healed all the parasites and now my how I approach food is different. But anyway, it was giving me desires that weren't mine, but I thought was me. But if you don't recognize that there's a parasite there, you're going to think it's you versus you, and you just got to lock in. And so the same can happen with your insecurities. Oh, it's just this thing that I got to heal. It's not you. And so you have to disidentify with it. But the thing is, it's latched on to your identity. So now that's the conundrum, right? And that's why I was like, for me, untangling to any identity and saying, I don't know who I am, and that's okay. I get to be in that. Who am I right now? I'm gonna be that guy, and I'm just gonna be that guy. And if I want to be tired, I can be tired. If I want to be high energy, I'm gonna be high energy. But I'm gonna not lock into being one version of Kevin. And that can sound like schizophrenic or whatever, but like, I just want to have range to be whoever I want to be.
Yeah.
And giving myself that permission. And then for me personally, when I just deepened in my relationship with God and I started understanding how God saw me, that was more important than me fabricating my own belief or identity about myself. And that then opened up the opportunity for trust, because I knew how loved I was, and shifted my priorities to care about the right things. And then I recognized, oh, those insecurities weren't actually me. It wasn't a voice in my head. It wasn't something that, even though it felt like that, right? It wasn't this thing that I was wrestling with, because now I'm in a different identity, and all of those things are irrelevant now. So changing your life and changing your perspective of self-love and God, which is the book, is because that is the way to just, now you're in a different reality entirely, because you've shifted your identity. And so if you can make that identity shift, it's not a matter of habits. It's not a matter of all the things you're doing. We talked about your calendar, and that's great. But like, who you are is the strongest force in your psychology, who you believe yourself to be. And so when that fundamentally shifts, you're able to actually make change in your life. But you can't change anything if you're holding on to who you are. So I talk about this in the book too. If you're binge eating all the time, and then you lock in and you go to working out, and you're counting macros and you're on top of everything, it looks like change. And it is change. Your life gets better. But to your spirit, you're still under the same control of a parasite of control. You're out of control. Now you're in control. You probably still have the same insecurities. I know I did.
Yeah.
I was at one point binge eating after, physique shows and being 3% body fat and shredded and like all this stuff. And then I'd crash out, binge eat, and I'd go back and forth and yo-yo on that. And I had, if I looked great or I had 10 extra pounds on me, I was still beating myself up, like mentally. It was, nothing changed for me spiritually, but I looked different. And so I think putting the focus on the spiritual aspect of change and your identity, that's when you actually are able to experience real change and evolution. I talk about it in the book as spiritual evolution versus change. We can change, but you might still be under the same torment in your soul or in your spirit, or the same parasites might be there, for example. But when you have that shift, it fundamentally rocks your identity and your perspective of everything. And you're in a totally new reality now. And so it's not a matter of you having to wrestle with those insecurities, because wait a second, that's not me. That's not true. Right. And it's not my insecurity. It sounds like my voice, but it ain't me. So disidentifying with it, and this goes deep with like IFS and a lot of different therapies. If you disidentify with having or what you're experiencing and go, that's not me. I'm a soul. I'm not my mind. I'm not my body. I'm not my emotions. I am a soul. It's timeless. All of a sudden you loosen up the grip that control has on you, and you're able to choose a different identity. That then opens up the opportunity for you to now make different decisions, emotions, thoughts, patterns, behavior, life, all of it. But that dance is the dance of perspectives. You have to have the perspective and the perception of, I'm not those things.
I think One, that was incredible. But what I heard that seems the most that landed for me in all of that, there was a lot that landed, but the thing that I think the most of us probably struggle around is making the changes, but not believing something different about yourself.
Yeah.
To your point, I go to the gym 3 times a week now. I'm a gym goer. I'm a fitness person.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, do you like inherently believe that? Have you detached from the previous version of you that is not a gym rat or a gym person?
Sure.
You might have the new habits, but you as a person haven't shifted your identity to that person.
Yeah. And it's not just an affirmation. It's not just something you can tell yourself. You live, experience, embody it, right? This is just what you do. Like for us, we just put things in our calendar. It's just what we do, right? Like for me, I go to the gym every day, even if it's a breast day. I'll try to walk or I'll stretch or I'll move my body. It's just what I do, right? And for me, personally, I'm going through a huge shift. I had Lyme disease earlier this year and I got diagnosed with it and healed that, thank God. And in 6 months out of this year, I was like pulled back on my workouts and everything. I was detoxing like crazy. And that really rocked my identity because it was so much in work movement every day. And some days I was just in bed and like all I could do was just lay on the floor. Like I was so exhausted because I was actually pulling these things out of my body and detoxing. And I forgot where I was going with that shift in identity. But for me now, for so long, I was working out manically, like 2 times a day, like overtraining like a motherfucker. And just, I looked great, but I felt horrible. It was coming from that insecurity, right? I cleared that. I'm finding balance and harmony. Then I get Lyme disease. And so I really my walking is a workout at that point. And now I'm like literally in it today, in the past like weeks or so where I'm like, I am not in that season of like detox anymore. So I don't have I'm approaching fitness as, oh, I can show up and push a little bit more. And I'm not going to do that as a decision, but I am healed. And so I'm coming from an identity that I'm healed and I don't have to be fragile with my body, which I was being from injuries and then Lyme disease. And I was very fragile. Like I would do a push up wrong and my shoulder would pop out. Like I was fragile in my joints and also like energetically in my nervous system. And I'm like, no, I'm healed now. And so I can show up and push and I'm now behaving as that. And just like the shift that I had with the book and then all of a sudden the book just came to me. It's like the body is going to come back to me because I've shifted my identity. It's not something I have to go get. It's something that comes to me because I've shifted the identity. And I think that is like if somebody listening can grasp that is the cheat code right there. Like, sure, I'm still going to put in effort. I'm still going to, blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice. Like I'm still going to do it, but it's not going to feel tough. It's not a grind. It's just something I do. And that's more authentic now. And that's more fun. And now I can have fun in it instead of striving to climb Mount Everest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I think men specifically, or a masculine energy, gets off on that, a challenge, and we want to overcome the challenge. But I think the bigger obstacle or challenge is the spiritual one. And so if we can overcome that and the identity piece, we can use that same energy that loves a challenge to challenge ourselves to make an identity shift like that. Yeah, it's just what I do. I go do this now. Like for me, I run now. I've never loved running. What the heck? I'm a runner now. And I'm like, I'm running 3 times a week. What the heck? I hated running for the longest time. And I love it now. Right. So the identity is the big thing. I'm not having to discipline myself to run. I'm not like, oh, I gotta like make sure I get it in and oh, I hate this. Like I'm not saying that stuff when I'm running. I'm like, wow, that was awesome. Like my legs are sore. This is so great. Like how I suffer changes because I see the suffering, the soreness, the business struggles, the relationship struggles, whatever the thing is you're going through, as the thing that's going to refine us into the version of ourselves that it has that identity.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so being sore is just a part of the refinement, or having, insecurity stuff in your relationship is part of the refinement for security. Having the business struggles and the failed businesses and like the things not going right and the last minute meetings and everything, it's a part of the refinement to stay present. Because when you change that energy and you come from, now all of a sudden I'm a millionaire. I'm operating as a millionaire and a CEO and everything's okay. Why? Because I'm energetically that. It's not about money in a bank. I'm safe and I don't need money to make me safe. I'm a leader and I initiate and I don't need a team to do that. The team's going to find me and the money's going to find me if you're living that. But it's not an affirmation you shove in your brain by screaming it in the mirror. It's a lived experience of life.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Aligned, agreed.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a lot of gold. That's a lot of beauty in the way that how to live the life that we're destined to live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We remember who we really are.
Yeah.
That's it. And where that reflection comes from, I think, is a perspective and that we get to dance with.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, brother, I couldn't think of a better place to stop. I appreciate your time. I appreciate just your perspective on life and what you shared. And yeah, there's a lot that I need to take away from this and shift about my own life.
Wow.
So I appreciate you.
It's an honor. Thanks, man.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.